In the criminal justice system, sexually based offenses are considered especially heinous. In New York City, the dedicated detectives who investigate these vicious felonies are members of an elite squad known as the Special Victims Unit. These are their stories. If you're anything like me, you know exactly what it's like to binge watch either Law & Order, Criminal Minds, or even Dateline. Okay, maybe that's just a me thing, but if you say you haven't, then you probably have somewhat of a social life. But each one of these shows relies on the use of DNA evidence to find the true culprit. So let's find out exactly what this entails. First, we'll take our clues back to the lab as we learn about DNA's use in the criminal system today. And lastly, solve our crime by looking at cases directly influenced by DNA evidence. DNA is not just a platinum hit written by rapper Kendrick Lamar. It's actually a code made up of 4 base pairs: adenine, thymine, cytosine, and guanine. Chemical bases A and T pair together, while bases C and G pair together to create a base pair. DNA evidence is extremely accurate, assuming that a sample is properly collected, because the chances of one person's DNA matching another is almost 1 in a billion. So when someone tells you you're 1 in a billion, well, they're not lying. But as DNA technology becomes more advanced, forensic analysts and investigators are able to analyze pieces that are once too small or were once too contaminated to create a DNA profile. For example, low-level DNA, commonly referred to as touch DNA, can be the skin cells left on a weapon or on an object touched by the perpetrator. This becomes incredibly handy when it's difficult to receive fingerprints off of something such as a rigid gun handle or even a vehicle dashboard. But these charts are given off through a chart called the electropheogram. The electropheogram allows analysts to prove if a suspect is present at the scene or not, and can also create a DNA profile. These DNA profiles are then put into CODIS, the Combined DNA Index System, a national database composed of 3 levels, which helps law enforcement agencies all across the nation share and compare data in order to create a DNA profile, which they can then send all over the United States. An article written by the FBI states that as of December 2017, CODIS has 16 million profiles and has produced leads in 400,000 cases all across the nation, making it one of the United States' largest databases. But the lowest level, which would be the local level, would be like a local sheriff's office. And then the state, which would be like the Texas Department of Law Enforcement. And lastly, the FBI section, which would be the national. But now let's examine cases that are directly influenced by DNA evidence. An article written by the Washington Post states that in March of 2018, Phoenix, Arizona detectives were able to match a suspect to the murder victim by testing the Palo Verde seeds found in the suspect's truck. They were able to link him to the exact tree found at the scene of the crime, and therefore placing him at the crime scene, and therefore prove that he was guilty. But next, an article written by the Australian Institute of Criminology states that DNA phenotyping is so advanced that they can now use DNA phenotyping to predict the qualities of an individual, such as hair and eye color, facial features, ethnic background, and even height. But let's look at a case where the statistic comes to life. In May of 2016, Chante Blankenship was murdered. Her murder went unsolved until November of 2017, when DNA was sent to a phenotyping lab, and they were able to create a computer-generated poster of what the suspect looked like. And within a week, her murder was solved because of how closely he matched the computer-generated poster that was released. So after over a year of searching for answers, a mother was finally given her justice due to the advancements of DNA phenotyping. In 1999, Roy Kreiner was sentenced to 99 years in prison for the murder of a 16-year-old girl. He spent 10 gruesome years behind bars until evidence came out and proved that he was in fact innocent. DNA evidence was able to give a man his life back. Lastly, in 1998, Illinois Governor George Ryan tested the 25 inmates on death row in Illinois at the time and was able to find that out of 25 inmates, 13 were actually innocent. One of these men being Leroy Orange. When reporters asked how he felt after being released, he simply replied, "Alive." Today, he is 67 years old and living a life he never would have had without the advancements of DNA evidence. So many cases tend to go unsolved, but with the advancements of DNA evidence, more and more people are finally getting the justice that they deserve. First, we analyzed DNA's use in the criminal system today, and then we looked at its involvement in the cases that were solved by DNA. DNA may not seem like the most important thing in the world, but to the mother whose daughter's killer was found with the smallest sample, or the man given his life back by DNA, it means everything to them. Whether finally receiving justice, proving innocence, or even saving a life, DNA evidence has had a huge impact on thousands of people's lives all across the nation, and it only continues to advance. Case closed.